As you continue to work in CorelDRAW X4, one of the things you'll be doing on an ongoing basis, I guarantee it, is cutting, copying, and pasting. Whether it be objects or the properties in those objects, you need to know some of the techniques you can use to save some time when borrowing objects and their properties to create duplicates. So I've opened up a file here called ccp1.cdr. It's in the Lesson 4 folder of the exercise files. If you've got them and want to follow along, you can open this one up. It's a 2-pager. I'm on page 1. I've got several shapes. On page 2, you can see it's just a blank page. I'm going to go back to page 1. Let's start with just a simple copy. I'm going to click on my red rectangle here, which happens to be a perfect square. And if I want a copy of this, I can go up to the Edit menu, and you'll notice that copy appears here. The keyboard shortcut, if you prefer using the keyboard, is Control-C. I'm going to just click out here outside the menu to close it up and show you that from the standard toolbar, you also have a copy button. And even faster, if you're using the mouse already, is to right-click on an object, and you'll notice that copy also appears here. 4 different ways to copy this object. When you click on copy, whichever method you choose, you're actually taking a copy of the selected object and placing it in the Windows clipboard. That's important because if you were to flip over to another application, maybe Microsoft Word for example, you can paste right into your Word document out of your CorelDRAW file here. Or vice versa. If you've got images in another application, they can be copied and pasted here in CorelDRAW. But we're just going to work on our page for now, and then we'll talk about multiple pages in a moment. So once I've copied it, it's waiting to be pasted. I can choose where it's going to be pasted. If I go up to my Paste button, you'll notice that Control-V is the keyboard shortcut. I could also go to the Edit menu. I'm going to click Paste here, and it appears as though nothing's really happened. But because I copied the rectangle and pasted it without choosing a location, it's pasted in the exact same position, meaning if I click and drag this little square out of the way, you can see I've got an exact duplicate now. So that's copying. What if I wanted to copy to another page? Well, all I do is copy, clicking the copy button, go to the next page. In this case, I'm going to go to page 2, and click your paste button. There it is. And it's in the exact same location where I copied it from. So I copied the second object. When I paste it, it appears in the same location. So imagine if you got multiple pages and you need an object like a logo, for example, to appear in the exact same location. You get consistency this way. I'm going to hit delete though to delete this and go back to page 1. And what if I actually wanted to remove this second copy from page 1 and put it on page 2? There's a couple of options here. One is to cut it using the scissors up here, or going to the Edit menu, choosing Cut, right-clicking, choosing Cut. Control-X is your keyboard shortcut. Lots of options. When you cut an object, it's removed from its current location, placed in the Windows clipboard, and now it's waiting to be pasted. So I could go to page 2 and paste it by clicking my Paste button. Control-V would work, and it's pasted in the exact same location. I'm going to click Undo. I'm going to flip over to page 1 and undo the cut, so it's right back, and show you another method for moving an object from one page to another. And that's really what cutting and pasting does. It removes it from one location to put it in another. Well, an easier way might be just to click and drag it down to the page 2 tab. When you hit the page 2 tab, you're actually switching over to page 2. You're going to see little nodes representing the original location of this object. If you wanted to place it there, you could, but if you want to put it in another location, like the center of the page, just release your mouse button and you will have removed it from page 1 and placed it on page 2. If I go back to page 1, notice that that duplicate is now gone. So that's a handy little feature as well for taking objects from one page and putting them on another. Now let's talk about copying properties. You see I've got some other shapes here, and they've got different fill colors. The border around the outside, they're all black and the same width. Down below though, this rectangle has a fill attribute, and you can see it's got a thicker border and a different color around the outside. If I wanted to take these properties and put it into my circle, one way would be to right click and drag this rectangle and drop it right here in the center of my circle. And when I let go, I see a little menu pop up giving me some options. Well, I actually don't want to move the rectangle or copy it to that location. I'm interested in the properties. Notice I've got 3 options for that. Copy the fill here, the outline, or all of the properties, which would be both the fill and the outline. So when I click on Copy All Properties, look what happens. It's got that thicker border now, changed color, and it has the same fill that I see here in my rectangle. Now another way to do that is to copy the object and then choose where you want to get the properties from. So if I click on my triangle now and I go up to the Edit menu and choose Copy Properties From, I now have to select which properties and where I'm going to get them from. So if it's just the fill, or if it's the outline color and the pen, which is that thickness of the border, I can choose all three of those or any combination of those three. Let's say I just want the fill. I click OK, and now I choose the object where I want to get the fill from. If it's my rectangle, I click on the rectangle with the arrow, and the fill only in this case is transmitted over to my triangle, so I've got the exact same fill showing up in these two objects. So a couple of different ways for copying properties from one location to another. Well, you should be feeling comfortable now with the different methods of cutting, copying, and pasting not just objects, but object properties as well.